Chat, please, everyone, that we're all good to go. All right, so let's get into it. Now, we all know that Manchester United cannot get their top midfield targets this January transfer window, but there is a plan going on behind the scenes. I want to talk about this morning about Manchester United bankrolling them key transfers this summer with what they're going to sell out of Manchester United's academy. And it isn't exactly how you would have thought either. Going to get into a big story on all of Manchester United's loanees that are out of the club at the moment. Johnny Evans' role in this, and also Jim Ratcliffe is looking at a huge PSR profit this summer. Also going to bring you up to date with Lisandro Martinez and his injury update. It is being talked about already now that this week we will see Leacher back in Carrington and back in with the first team training fully. Still don't expect to see him at weekend, of course, but it is good to see that we have got Lisandro Martinez back and another defender back, another option for Manchester United. By the way, when we talked last night about Harry Maguire, how influential will the return of Lisandro Martinez be? If he sees out this season with no more injuries, will that have implications on what we were talking about last night with that new contract, or potentially not a new contract for Harry Maguire? Let's get into the chat. Everybody, please pile into the comment section. Give me your thoughts and let's get cracking with the show this morning. We have got quite a bit to talk about, and in detail, I want to go into everything that's going on with Manchester United's bankrolling of the summer. PSR loopholes, Manchester United's academy. Now, the obvious springs to mind straight away. And when it comes to PSR, when it comes to Manchester United, bankrolling their summer transfer window, the likes of Marcus Rashford obviously are right there. I'm going to do a special video on Football Talks later as well regarding Marcus Rashford. So stay tuned for that one. That's coming up later on this morning, everybody, as well. He's a man that's turning his career around at Manchester United. You could say that because he's still on our books. Obviously, he's over at Barcelona at the moment, but Manchester United looking, obviously, Barcelona well and truly on with finalising the deal to sign Marcus Rashford permanently. I don't even think Marcus Rashford and Barcelona thought he would have the start that he's had to his career at Barcelona. When you look at his stats so far this season, Marcus Rashford is pretty much on a goal involvement a game at the moment, and it is actually looking really positive for him right now. Another 2 goals in the Champions League last night for Marcus Rashford. And that's 4 in 3 in the Champions League for him right now this season so far. He's bagged a couple in La Liga already, but Marcus Rashford is already on 11 goal involvements in 12 games for Barcelona, leading the way ahead of all of their other superstars. Lewandowski, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal. He is right up there right now in La Liga for Barcelona. I didn't see it coming. I don't think anyone's seen it coming, but the people that are looking at this and going, well, this is actually really beneficial for Manchester United, is Ineos and that £25 million a year contract out of the way. Also, £26 million worth of pure profit for Manchester United. Also, they're ready to, like I said at the top of this video, bankroll what we need to do in the summer. Forget the January transfer window. We will get what deals we can get done with loans and other, I don't know, whatever kind of deal. I think it is only going to be loans, to be honest. But the summer is massive for United. We know the players we want. We know what we're going to have to do. If we get into Europe, then we're quids in and we're looking a lot better. If we don't, we're going to have to be very, very clever with what we do and how we organise our transfers. But Marcus Rashford, first of all, that 26 million, I think Manchester United are trying to get more out of it. I don't know how they get more out of it. I think the option is there for Barcelona to trigger. And it's been a bit of a murky water situation and subject around that with Marcus Rashford. How much did Manchester United say that they wanted from him? From Barcelona for him. Romano gave one price, another journalist gave another price. There was a few around, but Barcelona are in communication with Manchester United, according to reports in Spain, to make sure that they make this a permanent deal. With Robert Lewandowski looking to leave, age 37 this summer, Barcelona are all in on Marcus Rashford. With him willing to take a pay cut as well to stay, it looks like this is now nailed on. Barring an absolute Marcus Rashford catastrophe, never rule that out, by the way. That is always something that could be on the cards. Marcus Rashford is going to be a Barca player, and Manchester United are about to save themselves a shed load of money on his contract and £26 million worth of transfer fee. So, pure profit number one, Marcus Rashford in at Manchester United. On top of that, obviously, when we spoke about this the other day, we went into detail, and we are going to be watching and keeping an eye on Mason Greenwood tonight, again in the Champions League over on Football Talks. We're going to be covering the Liverpool game over on there, so join us later for that this evening. But Mason Greenwood in action again tonight. He has got an even better record than Marcus Rashford this season so far. So he has got more goals. He's averaging a goal involvement a game at the moment. So both of Manchester United's former players are absolutely smashing it right now. And the only reason to bring Mason Greenwood into this is because he is not going to be staying at Marseille past this season. The big guns are already circulating, and it is going to be another sale for Manchester United to take that sell-on clause money from. And Mason Greenwood is expected, with the prices going around, I mean, again, barring a complete catastrophe, and maybe another fallout with De Zerbi over in Marseille, Mason Greenwood is going to be joining Marcus Rashford in making Manchester United at least another £25 million in pure profit this summer, taking us up to already over 51. I'm not even bringing in Rasmus Højlund into the equation there, or potentially sales of Bruno Fernandes as well. I'm just talking about the academy pure profit players alone in this, and that's 51 million on top already of what we're also going to do this summer. So Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, the money that we're going to get from them sales, £51 million worth of pure profit, that I feel is going to be the key to this summer for Manchester United. On top of that now as well, and when you look at it, and the role that Johnny Evans is actually playing at Manchester United now, head of the loan department at United, making sure the academy players get the right types of loan, move to the clubs where they're going to be used, they're going to get game time, they're going to be playing consistently and gathering first team game time, gathering value, experience. Players like Ethan Wheatley, who has started 12 of the 13 games in League One for Northampton now, just starting to come into form. Now he's getting a regular place in the side. Goal and assist against Doncaster the other day, team of the week. They lost to Reading after that, but still, like, he's getting the game time now as well. But it's the likes of Toby Collier now, and him just coming into form. He's just picked up an injury, which is a little bit of a dampener on the situation, but there is also talks of a potential £10 million transfer, permanent one, from Manchester United to West Brom. If not West Brom, another football club. Manchester United are looking now to move Collier on, and £10 million for Toby Collier, who is hardly featured for Manchester United, is exactly what Sir Jim Ratcliffe was talking about in his interviews, in his podcasts that he's been doing recently, about the academy doing more for Manchester United. If it's not going to be feeding the first team with players, it's going to be financing the way that Manchester United go forward. And like, I've just used 3 examples there, and the reality is that that will happen this summer. And you add that up, that's just over £60 million in pure profit for Ruben Amorim to utilise in the transfer market, if Ruben is still here, by the way. And again, this is all based off where we are now. So Manchester United's plan and their bankroll is going to be based off what is coming in from players and where Ruben obviously finishes in the league, of course, because we could be in Europe. Obviously, the gate receipts can be estimated, and we can move forward there as well in terms of what we're spending. It completely changes. But United's players, and don't forget as well, at the back end of the window, we sold Alejandro Garnacho for 40 million to Chelsea. So you could say in them 2 transfer windows there, Manchester United's academy has given the football club another £100 million in transfer fees to potentially spend and use on players that really are needed at this football club. And when you've got that much in pure profit coming into your football club, you could pretty much double that in terms of what that does. With the squad ratio rule coming in this summer as well, when that is voted in, which is expected to be, with United's wages going down, with the sales of Marcus Rashford, Casemiro moving on, like we've discussed, Manchester United are in prime position. If we get into European football of some form, and we sell the players like we're talking about here right now, Manchester United could easily spend upwards of 250 million again this summer transfer window. The finances are there, and it has all been laid out by financial football experts. I'm not I'm not a football finance expert. I'm just going off what they have said. And when you look at what Manchester United are set to make off these academy players this summer, it is absolutely huge. United have 18 academy players out on loan at the moment, going out to various clubs in the EFL and across Europe. And there is a whole different push from the football club now to make these players work for Manchester United. And if they're not going to come into the first team, which there's not going to be many of, and you know why, what is it, 1% actually make it through from grassroots to academy to first team football, there'll be a lot of players there, 18 players that are on loan, that are not being used by Manchester United right now. 18. And we're talking about the under-18s, the under-21s, are already smashing it in their leagues and doing well this season. This is without them 18 players. If you could bring in bits of transfer fees for each one of them players, then Manchester United are bankrolling a massive spend if necessary. And this is what that profitability is for Sir Jim Ratcliffe. This is where it completely changes for Manchester United under Ineos. And I can see why someone like Johnny Evans is now monitoring and taking control of the loan market for Manchester United. It's massive that Manchester United make the most out of these deals, because it's the only way we're going to turn the corner. We have to start prioritising the best of the best and making sure that the academy and the players coming through are of that elite level. There is a massive push at the club at the moment, and I've talked about it so many times, to try and get the academy to a point where it is really, really benefiting the football club in the long run as well, because we have let players just waste away in that academy, do nothing, not make the first team, not make any money, and end up leaving for nothing, just released by the club. This push now from Manchester United, I feel, is all because of the Ineos structure and football structure that they have brought into Manchester United. It's going to be huge going forward, but the big guns are already making their mark. It's a shame that we haven't got Rashford, Greenwood in our side. It's a crying shame that we're not being able to use them players for one reason or another, and the way this football club has been run and how they have been allowed to lead the lives that they have led by the former employees of Manchester United, it's killed Manchester United. Like, look, how painful is it watching both Marcus Rashford at 27 and Mason Greenwood at 24, two of our own academy players, hitting goal involvements every game for other clubs across Europe because they didn't work out at Manchester United. Their fault alone, not just Manchester United, but how did we allow this to happen? From having them in our academy to where they are now, how this football club has been run and how things haven't been monitored and organised is an absolute disgrace. And I have done many videos before on our academy and what it used to be like. You could even add Scott McTominay. Yes, Napoli got battered last night. Scott McTominay, 2 goals again last night. MVP last season. 3 academy players, all doing it elsewhere. I know that there is a football club for a player. Sometimes it doesn't work out in a certain club, but I ultimately put it always down to the structure of Manchester United and Manchester United not being able to get the best and get the most out of their players. And I think this is down on the football club itself. And I can see big moves. And this is why I always bring up the fact that the football structure is key at this football club, and that Manchester United need to get this right. And I'm a big lover of the academy and what it can actually bring for Manchester United. And I just think it's been run into the ground. I do. I think it has absolutely been destroyed by people who used to be at this club that are not there anymore. So it's massive now that Ineos and their structure and the people that they have employed are the top dogs and best in class to get the most out of this academy, because this is a good academy. And United have just let it rot away and do nothing for so many years. And now look where we're at. I know the Marcus Rashford and the Greenwood one are extreme circumstances and they're going to bring United a lot of money, but this is where it needs to be looked at and gone, well, how are they doing what they're doing elsewhere when they were ours? Someone has to be asking that question of the football club and what's actually going on. And I'm sure they're asking themselves at the moment on it as well. Let's get into the comment section on this and give me your thoughts on it, everybody, before we move forward. Sorry about the sound delay at the top of the show as well there. I'll cut that out later on. Right, so let's get into some of this. There's plenty of comments and plenty of debate going on right now. Let's see what else we've got in here. Someone's saying that Joe Bellingham was class last night for Borussia Dortmund. Big win for them as well in the Champions League last night. We're back all over everything, covering all of the Champions League on Football Talks later tonight, everybody. Big show tonight. ATKO, Harry far better than a Leacher. Leacher is loose cannon, gets too wide and fouls to recover. All over box to upset other players, gets hurt due to his compensation of being small. Harry is settled. Class. We'll talk about Leacher in a minute. He's Barcelona's problem now, onwards and upwards. Well, not quite yet, Tim. We have to sell him first of all, which is why I'm talking about that. Like, Manchester United need to get him out of the door first and foremost and get the right price for him. It does look like it is going to be that low fee, that £26 million, but we'll see what happens with that. I'm just happy that he's playing football and doing well. And it's all going to benefit Manchester United. We can talk about what I've just said there and how we've not managed to benefit from it. But eventually, you just have to take your losses and say, well, at least he's going to give us something. And again, the structure, the people that were giving him the massive wages when he really didn't deserve them at the time. This is the club. And as much as I go in and I've got a big opinion on Marcus Rashford, as you all know, I still feel like the club has really run itself into the ground. And I don't think utilised the qualities that it had within it. Great to see Rashi enjoying his play and life in Barca. He suits their attacking, flamboyant style. Be good to see Mason join him and boss it. Oof, can you imagine Greenwood and Marcus Rashford in the same side? That would be something to see. It really would. Adam, I saw it coming. A confident and motivated Marcus playing in front in a front-footed side was a no-brainer. He was going to be a success. Sorry if I missed anyone saying hello. No, you didn't, Ant. Don't worry, matey. Good to see you as well, my friend. By the way, as well, also on the players, Vitek is absolutely killing it at the moment, Bristol City. Watched part of that game last night, actually, against Southampton as well. He's doing incredibly well, and there is a big push from Bristol City this season, comfortably in the playoff places at the moment. If they continue that, there is also going to be that talk of Radat Vitek. Also, another good loan for Manchester United, sending him out to the right type of football club like Bristol City. If Vitek ends up smashing it and maybe getting promoted with Bristol City, don't be surprised if a bid coming in for Vitek as well to Manchester United. And they can take advantage of that. Now, there is a plan, and he's highly thought of at Manchester United to come back into the fold for us. But all of this talk about United going out and buying another goalkeeper, look, I'm just bringing up the financial side of things at the moment. And if Ineos are tempted into selling another academy player to bring in more money to help the profit and sustainability rules, then Vitek is another one that could be utilised. I would like it for him to come back and be understudy to Senna Lamens. That's my ideal situation. I don't really want to be going out spending money on another goalkeeper when we've got Vitek there. Sell Bayende, keep Vitek. I think he could be a big player for Manchester United in the future. But if he continues to play well, if he... Sorry, that one just caught me then. If Vitek continues to smash it as he is at Bristol City, then he might want to continue playing first-team football. He might not want to come back and be second fiddle to the likes of Senna Lamens next season for Manchester United. And it is that one. Do you go to the bigger club and be number 2, or do you be a number 1? If Bristol City don't get promoted, I think there are going to be plenty of clubs clamouring, trying to get that signature and get Vitek in this summer. And Manchester United could indeed look at this as a way to make money going off what the player wants. I want him at Manchester United. I think he's a great keeper, and I think he'd be brilliant as an understudy to Lamens as well. But I don't think he'd get much game time, unless, obviously, Manchester United do well this season. We've got Europa League, Champions League, whisper it, football next season. I'm only joking. And then United might rotate, and he might see that maybe 10 to 15 games for Manchester United next season is better than playing 30, 40 plus games somewhere else as a number 1. Oh, look, I don't know what his head is thinking right now, but obviously when a player gets more game time, his head can be turned, and you don't then, you're not then allowing these players to just think that this is just the way that life is. And that's what I meant before. If these players are getting constant first-team football, like what Johnny Evans is in charge of. I mentioned Ethan Wheatley. Even though he's only just started to hit form now, he's been playing continuously. 12 starts in 13 for Northampton. Vitek started every game for Bristol City. Collier in and out, but starting to feature. Yes, that injury has really just come at the wrong time because he was starting to hit form for West Brom. And he's now highly thought of over there, down there in the Midlands. But before, when it was all scattergun at Manchester United, these players were just going out, doing their bit, being sat on the bench, coming back to United, and that's the life. Go out, see a different part of the country, play a bit of football, sit on the bench, train at another football club, and then roll back to United. Nothing happening. The push from United from the loan side of things is massive. We need to be fully on top of everything that's going on at this football club. And Vitek playing games, Wheatley playing games, Collier playing games, coming back to Manchester United might not appeal to them. So the player then is really pushing to make the move happen as well. And that's what we didn't have before. Yep, okay, I'm back to United. Here we go again. Usual pre-season. Let's go. Rinse and repeat. And it all starts all over again. Not now. Now you've got players that are actually doing well elsewhere, and they might want to stay there, which ends up pushing the move even more. The player has to want to make the move as well. Otherwise, it's always going to die. So the fact that they're getting consistent game time and starting, I think, is massive for their developments and their look on the future. Not just United's look and what the club that they're at on loan at. The club they're on loan at. It's not their look as well. It's overall everyone. United wanting to move these players on, because I'm going to tell you right now, Ethan Wheatley's not going to play for Manchester United. There's just too many other players in the way. We know this, so we need to make sure that this kid at 19 is doing what he's doing in League One. Maybe a Championship club does come in, and Manchester United maybe make 5 million or something like that because he's had a good season and he wants to play first-team football. All profit. But if you add that sort of scenario up 18 times with all of the other 18 players that are out on loan from the academy, and then you can see how it would profit Manchester United going forward. And that is your loophole. That's your PSR angle, and that's how Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos will bankroll Manchester United's summer. It's about cutting the wage bill. It's about utilising the academy. It's about getting that pure profit in as well. And we have got a big boost there from the likes of Marcus Rashford and potentially Mason Greenwood in on that. So that's going to be key. Let's get a few more comments in, everybody. Nice to see some people in the chat actually mentioning Vitek as well. He is absolutely loved by the Bristol City fans, actually. I've seen people talking about Martinez playing in midfield. What will come first, injury or red card? I will get on to Martinez in a minute. There's a big conversation going on about him in there as well. Bring Rashford, Scott, Anthony Hoyland back to the Prem. Guarantee they all fail again. That's what I mean. Each player has got the club and has got the level that they should be playing at. And I think every single one of these players that have been sent out on their loans, their deals, I think are at exactly the right club. I just want to say a massive thank you again to Chelsea Football Club. Last season, you shafted us with Jadon Sancho. This season, I think we're square. We'll call it quits. For taking Garnacho for 40 million, thank you very much, Todd Bowley. Yep. And we will forget about what happened with Jadon Sancho. I'm just making a point about him because I think everybody else is where they should be. I don't think Garnacho's that level. I really don't. But Greenwood, McTominay, Rashford, in fact, Greenwood I think would have made it at United. I really do. But look, that's gone now. And I think we're finding out where these other players from United's academy are. You just drop it down a level and set these academy players up at the right football club and watch them flourish at their level. Manchester United is a level for elite players. That's what we should be looking at. And at the moment, we are on the recovery train, trying to get back to that level and trying to recover, like I said, from all of that mismanagement that I was talking about and allowing players to dictate what happens at this football club. How many times have I said the inmates running the asylum? It's one of my favourite lines, I think, but this is what Manchester United was. KP says, sorry, Chris P, I'll say you by your name, sorry, mate. Wouldn't be in a rush to sell to Barcelona. They still owe 135 million in transfer fees, including 36 to Leeds for Rafinha over 3 years ago. That's just normal, that KP though. Football clubs will have 2 to 5 years worth of transfer fees to pay. Manchester United have got the same thing. That's just part of football finance, mate. So I wouldn't even worry about that, buddy. Watching PSG last night, I'm not sure I'd want to see us play them at the moment. We're way off. We've got a lot of building to do. We have got a lot of building to do, and this is the perfect season to do it under Ruben Amorim. If you're going to play your way and your style, then these weeks now in between these games have to be utilised, and we have to make the most out of them. And this is on Ruben now to see what we can actually get. Stephen says, Adam, I agree. Vitek should come back for next season, especially if we can't get back in Europe and he can battle with Lamens for the number 1 spot. I'd love it to be that. Look, which way you look at it here is you go, okay, does Radat Vitek come back to Manchester United and save us spending another 20 million on a goalkeeper? Because that's better than selling Vitek for 10 million to Bristol City or another Championship club, or maybe even a Premier League club. I think you look at it from the transfer perspective. Are United going to go out and buy a goalkeeper? Yes. Is it better for us then to bring Vitek back because he's going to cost us nothing and his wages are going to save us a fortune? Yes, it is. I get the point. 10 million pure profit. Wow, yes. Like I just made a big point of it. But the other side of that is that if Baynder is sold and his wages are off the book and Vitek is back in, United are quids in anyway. You're not having to spend any money. And then that pure profit 100 million that I'm talking about with Rashford, Greenwood, Collier leaving, perhaps even Wheatley, players like this, that money that's coming into Manchester United on top of what we got through Garnacho, the 40 million. And then, yes, of course, you've got another 38 to come in from Rasmus Højlund, the potential sale of Bruno Fernandes if he does end up going. The Manchester United could be spending all of that on the midfield area where we really need improvements. And Vitek just sits there next to Lamens. No more money spent on goalkeepers for the next decade. Thank you. Exactly where United should be. But we'll see what happens. Of course, people at United have a completely different look on what's actually going on. And yeah, they confuse us as well at times in what they're doing. You just look at it sometimes and you think, why? Why are we doing it that way? We're no experts and we're not savvy to all of the information and news that goes on behind the scenes. But still, why are you doing this? Actually, we sat here loads of times, haven't we? Every single summer, every January, when the transfer window's open, we're like, what is the thinking behind that at all? Anyway, look, they have their idea and their plan. And thankfully, it has sort of lined up with the fans' vision as well a little bit more because we are doing well in the recruitment side of things all of a sudden. Now that we've had 2 summers of Ineos in, I do think recruitment is 20 times better for Manchester United. So hopefully we can take advantage of the outgoings as well. It does look like it's going that way. So let's see if it continues. But I see this plan forming and I can see how Manchester United are getting around a load of different avenues and problems with PSR. So let's just see how it develops. And with a super chat, thank you, buddy. Part of the issue is the Prem 2 is dog poo, and that's the under-21s league. And we all know it. Players don't develop playing mediocre teams. Johnny will fix this, hopefully, with good loans. Yeah, massively important, and totally agree, Ant. Premier League 2 is crap. It's not crap, and the players in it are not crap, but I just don't think they're getting the right type. Bring back the reserve league. That's what needs to happen. I think we've said this before, haven't we? We've talked about this a lot. Bring back the reserve league, for God's sake. Give these players a little bit of experience against proper players. This, I think, is definitely something Manchester United would benefit from probably more than any other football club. Look, okay, I do want to move on to the news regarding Leacher and what's happening there. Please keep your comments coming in around the academy players and that pure profit for the likes of Rashford, Greenwood, and the big summer coming as well. This transfer window, this summer transfer window. Give me your thoughts on them as well. By the way, everybody, make sure that you do grab your Match Bingo tickets. I've dropped a link in the live chat now. Again, Match Bingo are our match day sponsors here on Forever United TV. Tonight we'll be playing out them games. If you have got cards already for the Champions League tonight, we're expecting winners. If you download the app, create your account for free. When you deposit your money, put in the promo code FUTV, all capitals, and boost your deposit amount by 100%. Double your money, people, right now with the special that we've got with Match Bingo. And, of course, get your 5 cards for the price of 4 on all matches in the Champions League this week, everybody. We are going to be doing a big one again this weekend for Brighton at Old Trafford. More on that at the end of the show as well. Let's move on to the news on Leacher. Now, Lisandro Martinez, the talk from several people on the ground, journalists in and around Manchester United, is that Lisandro Martinez is now looking likely to be back in with Manchester United's first team training this week. Now, we're already halfway through the week, so I'd expect to start seeing pictures of Lisandro Martinez and now over the next couple of days, if this is going to be true. Obviously, Wednesday today, he's not going to be selected for the squad against Brighton. I can pretty much guarantee that. I think we're looking at Nottingham Forest as a potential squad return at best. I would even say Spurs in that first week of November is probably where we're expecting Lisandro to come back. And I wouldn't even think it was too much of a shout to say after the November international break for Lisandro Martinez. Just to have him back in training, United will not rush him back. So you could see Lisandro Martinez in December yet. They are not going to rush him. There is talk and there's a plan. And I'm just talking about him training and training with no problem. And then normally, your run-of-the-mill, and I'm not going to say that Lisandro Martinez is run-of-the-mill because his injury record is horrendous. Your run-of-the-mill player would then be in contention for them games I've just described, them games I've just mentioned. But there is a plan to train him, and make sure that there is no repercussions at all for maybe even 2 to 3 weeks yet. So don't be surprised if Lisandro pops up in December as an option for Manchester United. There is no mad rush for Man United to be bringing Lisandro Martinez back into the club, into the team. This is the word coming from Manchester United at the moment. We have an abundance already, as we know. We're talking about Harry Maguire and whether he starts games. Lenny Yoro and Aidan Heaven sat on the bench for centre-back. Mazraoui sat on the bench as a centre-back with 3 others already on the pitch right now. And so Ruben is in the ideal situation right now with Lisandro Martinez. The only debate we've got right now with Lisandro is, does he warrant coming back into the side anyway? Because this is the best we've been under Ruben so far. And Lisandro Martinez, as good as he is, look, I have said this, and it sounds like I'm going back on what I've said before, because I said, and I'm not going to try and deny it, and you know what I'm like, I'll be honest, I've said that Lisandro Martinez comes back into Man United's side. This was before we seen the upturn in form of some players at Manchester United in that area, and one of them being Luke Shaw. Now, I don't think Luke Shaw should be in Man United's side, but I'm not going to say he's playing bad. Luke Shaw has been good. He's been fantastic the last 2 games for Manchester United. And at home this season, I've witnessed this man continuously play and be consistent. I cannot believe I'm using the words consistent and Luke Shaw in the same sentence. But he is. I don't think Ruben wants to drop him. Now, I've made the case for Lisandro Martinez. He passes through the lines. He's aggressive. And Ruben has talked about this continuously. That's why the profile of Lisandro Martinez is exactly what Ruben wants in his side. But you cannot ignore the form of other players. And I think this is where the debate is now going to spark. Because you've got Harry Maguire, hero of Anfield. Are you going to drop him for Lisandro? People would argue no, and I could see why. Luke Shaw I've just made a case for, and to be honest, no one's moving De Ligt. And then I'm going, right, well, Lenny Yoro deserves to be in next then. Mazraoui probably deserves to be in next. And Lisandro Martinez, all of a sudden, is surplus to requirements. And you can see why these reports are saying there's no mad rush to bring Leacher back into the side. We don't need him right now. In fact, some people are actually saying. And maybe Manchester United here have got a I've got an opportunity with Lisandro coming into the last 2 years of his contract to, dare I say it, maybe, if you need to improve your team elsewhere, sell Lisandro Martinez if he stays fit to the end of the season. But I also did say at the top of the show, and if you think back to when we first kicked off this morning, that maybe Manchester United are looking at Lisandro Martinez. His fitness from now until the end of the season could be the difference in Man United renewing Harry Maguire or not. So there are subplots throughout this Lisandro Martinez coming back. I want to see Yoro. I want to see Heaven. I want to see other academy players come through. Lisandro Martinez has got a lot of convincing to do. And everyone loves him. Yeah, he's going through the cop end with a cleaver, and you know what I mean? Like, he's one of them cult heroes at Manchester United. We love his passion, we love his aggression, but I think a lot of Manchester United fans now have come around to the thinking of, like, do you know what? Maybe them passion merchants aren't exactly the way forward for Manchester United. Maybe organised, and maybe someone with I'm not saying he hasn't got a high football IQ or anything like that, but I'm looking at the likes of Luke Shaw, and he plays differently to Lisandro Martinez. He does. And look, I would always pick, and going into the start of this season, through the first few weeks of the season, I would have Lisandro Martinez ahead of Luke Shaw every day of the week. But you can't ignore what you're watching. The eye test tells you everything. And the eyes are telling you that Luke Shaw deserves his place in the side at the moment. You cannot deny that. And if you're going to turn up at Anfield and boss it, if you're going to turn up in them big games like Chelsea at Old Trafford, where he dug in and defended well, Arsenal in that game, where he absolutely mullered the likes of ENQUIRIES in that game, and he deserves to be in Manchester United's team right now. And Leacher's on the bench, and that's where he's going to start, I think. Angry Beaver, 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, my man. Also, please do drop a big thank you in the chats if you have been gifted one of them memberships. That is big on the community here on Forever United TV. I was actually speaking to YouTube yesterday, and they were actually telling me, and I'm not lying about this either, that we have one of the strongest communities on YouTube right now in terms of our niche and what we're doing here with Forever United TV. It is absolutely mega. And a big shout out to you all yet again. I love this community. I love everyone in it, the mods, the members, and it is just going from strength to strength. And you can see there's hardly anyone who ever drops out of our chats, and there's hardly any debate or fallout. It's just because everyone is on that page. They just want to have a good old football debate and a good chat. And I'm here for you every single morning, and everybody always piles in there, so it's brilliant. So I've been told by YouTube that 70% of you are all returning to watch this, or 70% return rate. So there are people that have already subscribed. So there is still that little 30% of you that need to hit that subscribe button, by the way. But that is massive. So thank you again, everybody, on that. And again, Ant there with a super chat. Just as I'm talking about that, Leacher is more natural at stepping up than De Ligt. I don't think so, mate. I know what you're saying there. And Leacher does do that role, which is why I always thought Ruben would bring him straight back in. But De Ligt is starting to master that. He did it again against Liverpool at Anfield. And honestly, like, I'm looking at this right now. Why all of a sudden has Manchester United's injury record gone? What was happening before at this football club? And again, another question as to how Manchester United were being run. What was going on with the medical team? What was going on with the dietitians and whatever, and the whole recovery process, whatever it is? Everybody at Manchester United, the sports science side of it, I don't know if that's coming with Ineos coming through and got better, but to have Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, Leacher coming back, them players fit, available, week in, week out. And I know we haven't got as many games, but still, if you'd have said to me, Luke Shaw's going to play the first, what are we in here? Literally 10 weeks of the season. He's going to play 1 game a week, or be available 1 game a week for the first 10 games of the season. I'd have laughed in your face. I'd have said, shut up. Not a chance. But look at him now. What's happened? Why is it all of a sudden changed? Why is Mason Mount available all of a sudden, all of the time? These are 2 of the most injury-prone players in Manchester United's history. You can always argue Lisandro Martinez, but that is a an impact injury, obviously a knee ligament injury again for Lissandro, and that happened on the pitch. A lot of Manchester United injuries were just out of the blue from nowhere, and all of a sudden it's changed, and we're now seeing everyone available all the time. So again, kudos to whoever it is who's in charge, the management team, who has got everything in order and making sure that we are moving in the right direction here as well, because it's like that investment from Ineos, being able to bring MRI scanners into Carrington and be able to do all of our own medicals at Carrington and bringing in the best of the best. This is where Manchester United should be. I'm not saying that is why all these players all of a sudden are fit and available, but there is definitely something has changed, and you cannot say that it's not, because everyone is available. I was saying here, and the big point on this was Leacher coming back and still having 2 centre-backs on the bench ahead of him, as well as 3 centre-backs on the pitch. Man United always had, and notoriously had, that horrible centre-back situation, didn't they? It was always there. And now look at us. We've got an abundance of them who are all playing well. And it's good to see. It's brilliant to see. We couldn't get Mazraoui on the pitch at weekend. I never ever thought I would be saying that. We couldn't get him on. There was too many players ahead of him. That's crazy. He's one of the signings. He was the signing of the season last season for me, in terms of what he brought and how much he was. And we can't even get him on the pitch. We have had a poll running, by the way, throughout. Should Leacher be a starter for Manchester United? 64% of you, though, have said yes on this one. Get into the poll on that. And that is going to be my question towards the back end here as well. When we go into the video formats and the live finishes, get into the comment section, please, everybody, and answer this question. Does Leacher come straight back into this side, or does he bench, or do we bench him? Tell me in the comment section when it finishes as well, everybody. Just remember that one. ATKO says, the solution for Maguire is for De Ligt to read the danger like he did Sunday, and not like Brentford when we went up wing. Euro inexperience. He reacts late. If De Ligt and Harry at centre back in a 4, Harry will be fine. But we're never going to be in a 4. So I think we have to look at the future of this football club with Ruben as a 3. And I look at it that way and say we cannot be thinking about going forward at the back anymore. We all want it to happen and we think it would be better, but we've just won 2 games in a row, well, and deservedly so, playing this formation of Ruben's. And all I'll say on it again is, I don't want to drone on about the system and the formation too much, but you can see that the players are learning. You can see their understanding of it more. And I could see it. As a centre-back, when I played, and I seen how that back 3 were moving and operating with the 2 wing-backs against Liverpool, you could see it on camera instantly. The way that they moved together and understood where each other were going to be, that I've not seen in a long time at Manchester United. I am massively intrigued as to how we're going to set up and approach the Brighton game, though, because it's a completely different ball game. So that is my next point that I'm going to be looking for Ruben Amorim. Can he adapt it to a different team? Now, we always talked about Manchester United adapting and moving and working against the opposition, and it is always changing. And you can see it at some points, but Brighton is a tough one for United to figure out with that formation, because they have got an athletic front line which is completely different to Liverpool's, and that's going to be the big concern for me this weekend. Massively intrigued to see how that game goes this weekend anyway. Cal says the pace is seriously a problem in our back line. De Ligt, Maguire, Shaw, Leacher, all too slow to be playing together. So if we're keeping De Ligt, we need 2 fast centre-backs next to him. Then again, though, they didn't look slow against Liverpool, did they? They looked like they were in position. And when you've got a keeper behind them, this is where it's key. If you have got slow centre-backs in your back line, but you've got a keeper that is willing to command his 18-yard box and more and sweep, that's the difference. And that's where Ruben Amorim's system starts to really kick in. If you've got competent defenders that might not have a bit of pace, and you're worried about that pace, but you have got a goalkeeper that can push that defence forward as well, that does play a big part in it. I think the defence looks 20 times better because Senna Lammens is behind them. It seems like a simple answer and a simple response in what I'm saying here, but I think that is definitely what the difference is at the moment. They've got a new lease of life, and it is completely down to, I feel, more training time, understanding, but having a competent goalkeeper behind them who also knows what his team needs to be doing. I just think Onana was away with the fairies. Like, he just didn't look like he understood what was going on in front of him. And again, when you've got a basic, simple, dominant goalkeeper, and look, Courtois isn't your most flamboyant goalkeeper, but he did every single basic right. And that's what we've got with Senna Lammens right now. He just knows where to be. He knows when to come and claim, and he can kick with both feet. That alone is an absolute godsend for Manchester United. But again, when you watch all of the analysis of that Liverpool game at weekend and what we went through, why we played long and why Sesko wasn't playing, it was great to see how people were picking out what Ruben was doing and what the plan was. And if you haven't seen Jamie Carragher's, this is the one thing that I do like about Jamie Carragher, by the way. His analysis is very, very good about how he sees the game and how it was played and tactics and things like that. So I think he's better than Gary Neville, miles better than Gary Neville. And he picked out the tactics that Ruben made in that game. And you could see, and that was the point where it's like, you look at what was happening before, players questioning, rumours from the media, like they've fallen out with the system. They want Ruben to succeed, but they can't do what Ruben wants. Bullshit. Sorry for swearing in the morning. Absolute crap. Jamie Carragher pretty much explained it. Every player knew exactly what he needed to do at weekend. And if you don't believe in a manager or his tactics, you don't get performances like we did against Liverpool. The challenge is this weekend. And I will not be fully on board with this being the big turn until we beat Brighton. If we beat Brighton this weekend, then holy lula, anything is possible. It really is. Because that is a huge test. Because that's how that's how Bournemouth are going to come and play against Manchester United. They're the two teams. Your Bournemouths, your Brightons, your Crystal Palaces, they're my big worries. Huge worries. Everyone else, no problem for me. The bigger clubs, no issue. Everton's of this world, like the Fulhams we've seen, play teams like this, Leeds, Wolves, Burnley, new promoted sides as well, West Ham's, no problem. Them three teams, they're the ones, and they're all coming up in the next couple of months now. Your Brightons, your Palaces, your Bournemouths, they're the failure games for Manchester United because they're organised, quick, fast-flowing, counter-attacking sides that will destroy you, that have got bullies up front. Not so much Brighton, but Semenyo for Bournemouth, Mateta for Crystal Palace. These are the types of teams that Manchester United have gone and been battered by in the last few years. That needs to change. And that's what I'm going to be looking out for when we play Brighton this weekend. Because that's the first one now. This is where everything, I feel, starts to really take a hold for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim. If he gets through this one, then I am fully convinced that we are looking up on that side of things. In terms of other news and crazy news as well that's floating around, don't listen to any of this, honestly. Just to wrap up and give you everything that's going on right now. Lewandowski to United. Oh, God, some crap report going out about that. It's all around about him and obviously turning 37. They've pulled an old story back saying that he'd love to play for Sir Alex Ferguson. It's not going to happen. United are not going to buy Lewandowski. They're not going to take him. Never in a million years. But I am going to be doing a special video on Marcus Rashford, which is also coming up on Football Talks very, very soon as well this morning, everybody. But for me, that is me. That is it for this morning. Thank you very much. That went by very quickly. Make sure that you grab your QR code there, scan that on the screen, match bingo, get on the Champions League action tonight. We're going to be live with all the Champions League action this evening, covering Liverpool in particular on Football Talks. Match bingo tickets now. Put in the promo code FUTV when you go to deposit and have that boosted by 100%, everybody, if you use promo code FUTV. So whatever amount you put in will be boosted, doubled. The games are only £2 a game. It plays out match events, cross the match events off your card, get a line, 25 quid, another line, another 25 quid. If you get all 15 match events on your card in that game, then you are going to be upwards of £200 in winnings. And loads of people have already done it. Just ask Gems, whose comment I've pinned in the live chat right there, who's, I think, £600-700 up right now. Mega. Let's get some more winners on Forever United TV, everybody. That's us all done this morning. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Give the video a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll catch up with you all